Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Timeout podcast. I am your host, CJ. I am with
the Galdem Glucose, the Galdem Goku. Davian, right? Thank you. That's right. The Galdem Glucose, the Galdem Goku.
What does that even mean? What?
You know,
What is that? Okay, it doesn't matter.
I'm the sweet hero. If you deep it, the Glucose
Sweet,
and the Goku with the Galdem. You know.
All right, sweet. Right. Anyway, this. So it's been a very interesting week in basketball. Obviously, there've been a lot in the NBA stratosphere. The All-Star reserves, the All-Star. Well, they are reserves, aren't they?
It's reserves, yeah. It's reserves.
Reserves?
Yeah, it's reserves.
It
doesn't feel like you should call them reserves because but they're in the squad. But yeah,
I don't think you should call them reserves because, everyone. I mean, there's literally, when you look back on it in history, there's no difference between the starters and reserves.
Yeah, no.
You got an All-Star nod. That's it. There's also talks that Lowry wants out of Toronto to go to Philadelphia. The TWolves fired their coach. Not a surprise. Who they fired and who they hired and how long it took them to do that. Bit sus. And also, we've had a lot of talk about Kyrie Irving and him wanting to change the NBA logo. However, instead of having that little talking point at the end, that's going to be the topic for this week's Chris Explains. So I'm going to go over the NBA logo.
Just really quickly. Kyrie wants to change the NBA logo.
Yes.
Fam, since I put a block on hearing Kyrie news, my life has been so much better.
Well, you know what? After what Draymond said as well, I've tried to be a bit more lenient towards Kyrie. But even then, this makes fucking sense.
Oh, no. And I respect him as I'm going to respect him as a player and, appreciate his mental health. But also, I'm going to respect my own mental health and ignore sometimes what he says.
Which is fair, like flat earth stuff. But what he's been campaigning for this last couple of weeks has been a thing that's kind of been going on for a while, and I'll explain that later. But we'll go over the week first. So, on Sunday last week, Davian, we had the LA Lakers versus the Brooklyn Nets. There was no KD because the Nets are very cautious after a hamstring injury he had against Golden State Warriors, which has actually led him to missing the All-Star game now. We'll go over that a little later. So, Kyrie had 28 points, 8 assists. Harden had 38 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. Kawhi and Paul George pulled out with 29 points, 34 from Paul George. So the last possession of this, it was a very good game. Up in this last possession, Kyrie drove. And he got an offensive foul on a charge by James Harden. James Harden took a charge, but everyone's saying it was a flop because there wasn't really much contact in there. This was like the beginning of the week, so I haven't seen it in a while. But the refs and Harden, they'll take anything that man's selling.
100%.
Not buy anything from him. But yeah, Brooklyn ended up winning that one. That was another one to their streak at that point. New Orleans Pelicans versus Boston. The Pelicans come back from 24 and end up beating them in OT. Coming down from 24 points is the highest in team history for the Pelicans. Tatum had 32, Brown had 25, Ingram had 33, and Zion had 28. You had Toronto against Philadelphia. So what's funny about this is before this game, Embiid was saying he was unguardable. But they basically put the clamps on him. I mean, he scored 25 points, but he was sick. He shot 30% from the field. Yeah. 28. You had 28 points from Simmons, though. He was 9 from 11. You had 17 from someone off the bench. Boucher off the bench for Toronto. 17 off him. Helped Toronto win the game. Then later on that day, you had the T-Wolves who fired their coach, Ryan Saunders. We'll go over that a little later. Atlanta versus Denver. 15 from Jokic. You had Murray with 30. Young had 35 and 15 assists to help Atlanta win that game. Then we move on to Monday. Lakers ended up waiving Quinn Cook, probably to make way for DeMarcus Cousins. Allegedly, we don't know yet. Some things are happening because Houston are supposed to be waiving him. I don't know if they have yet or not. But Lakers have waived Quinn Cook, so they've got a roster spot open.
Do they though? I thought they used it already. Didn't they sign Damian Jones?
I don't know. They might have. They might
have. I'll have a look. I'm sure they signed someone.
Look? You have a quick because this is on Monday, and with all the talk about DeMarcus Cousins, everyone thought, oh, he's probably making room for DeMarcus Cousins. If they sign someone else in the meantime, then that's gone. LA versus Washington then. Washington ended up beating LA. Beal had 33 points. You had 32 points, 9 assists, 14 rebounds from Russell Westbrook. LeBron had 31, and he missed a game-winning free throw. If he had shot that free throw, they wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have given up that possession. It was a fall for LA this week. They did absolutely terrible this week.
Okay, so just to check, Damian Jones signed a 10-day contract with the Lakers.
A 10-day contract.
With a view to, so I think it may be a view to see whether they use him for the rest of the season or whether they do make him move for Cousins.
I see that. Okay, so you got Charlotte versus Utah next. Utah set a team record 28 threes in this game. You had 21 points from LaMelo. You had 23 from DeMarcus Cousins and 20 from Clarkson. Hayward ended up suffering a right hand injury in this game. Then you had Phoenix versus Portland. Phoenix beat Portland behind Booker's 34. It was a blowout victory. Portland had 24 from Damian Lillard. Then we move on to Tuesday, where we had the All-Star selections. So we saw what was going on there. We'll talk about that. The initial selections, and then we'll talk about, because some people had injuries, so they're getting replaced. Dallas versus Boston. Dallas ended up beating Boston. This is Boston's second loss in a row. Luka scored a winner with which left 0.1 seconds left on the shot clock. Tatum had 28. Brown had 29. Luka ended the game with 31 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds. Celtics were 3-7 in their last 10 games, and it only got worse as the week went on. I'm pretty sure last night they lost 2. No, last night they barely won. Brooklyn versus Sacramento next. Harden had a triple-double, 29 points, 14 assists, 11 rebounds. Curry had 21. De'Aaron Fox tried really hard. He had 27 points. Brooklyn then extended their streak to 7. Still no KD. They're managing to pull out wins without KD, which is good. It seems like they're actually gelling somewhat.
Yeah, but isn't the issue going to be that they're gelling without KD, and then they're going to add KD and go back to the exact same issue they had when he was there?
Potentially, but the thing is with KD is that KD can do whatever KD can do.
Yeah.
No matter what. Kyrie and Harden have very specific playing styles. KD has a playing style, but he can fucking do anything.
Yeah, I just want to see. I just hope they don't. I just want to see. I hope that, because the one thing about the big three is I want to see the best of KD, so I'm hoping that it's not. Because I think, even going to say, sometimes you didn't always see the best of him because he didn't need to. And now I'm a bit
but the best of him came out in those playoffs.
Yeah, I know. So I guess I have to wait for that. But yeah, we'll see. But they are looking good with the.
They are. You had LA Clippers versus Washington. This snapped Washington's 5-game win streak. Sorry. So at the moment, I think the East is really hotting up. You had a lot of teams this week really, really giving it from lower down, really giving it a good shot. So you had Washington, they're only 2 games behind.
Yeah, Washington are pulling back. Washington are 2 games behind 8th.
2.5 games. They're 2.5. Yeah, 1.5 games. Sorry, they're 1.5 games behind 8th seed. You had the
The
Heat,
gap,
which I'll
yeah,
go over that a
the gap
little later.
between the gap between the first team in the East and the 10th team in the East is only 7 games. When you compare that to the West, where the gap between the first team and the fifth team is nearly 7 games. Oh, the gap between the first team and the fifth team in the West is 10 games. At this point, if anyone goes on a run in the East, they can go from anywhere.
But it's 10 wins, but it's 7.5 games behind. It's because it's been a dodgy
Yeah,
house.
the weird season. But yeah, I think you look at the Celtics, like, they had a slump, but they've dropped below the Knicks. So also the Knicks are still doing well.
No, the Knicks have done amazingly well. Well, hold on. Where are the Knicks right now?
Fifth.
They're fifth. Celtics have gone sixth, but literally with a loss, they'd be out the playoffs right now.
Yeah, and
with a loss, they could go down to 10th.
Yep.
And if Atlanta win, they could possibly go down to, with a win, if Washington win, they could possibly go down to 13th, 12th, 13th, 12th. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's
fun stuff for them. Fun stuff for Boston. So Brooklyn, Sacramento. Then you had the LA Clippers versus Washington. Oh yeah, I've just been through that. So Washington end up snapping Wizards. No, LA snap Wizards 5-game winning streak. Well,
yeah.
So a little story about this as well. So apparently, at the beginning of the year, the Washington Wizards are having a little bit of a skid.
Yeah.
No one was really knowing what was going on and stuff. So a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes of like NBA teams and stuff, and this shows what a great leader Russell Westbrook is, and shows that he has some leadership and some great pedigree with him after going to a few playoffs and finals. Is he just in the locker room? He just went out and asked. He just went up and there was a group. They were all together, and he just asked as a group, define your role. And everyone went down around each other and defined their roles, their own roles. They just said them out loud, like, what's your role? What, like, my role is. And apparently that's worked. I mean, they went on a 5-game win streak. Like, everyone knows where they are and where they stand now. It's like, okay, it's one of those little things where, if I know that this is what you think you're doing, I can help play into that and stuff. And it helps the team gel and make it cohesive. Great stuff by Russell Westbrook. But, however, it wasn't enough to beat the LA Clippers, who had Kawhi scoring 32 points and Paul George scoring 30. Then you had Golden State Warriors beating the New York Knicks. Curry had 37 points, 7 of them, 7 on 7 threes. You had Knicks welcoming back fans for the first time, and Julius Randle scoring 25 points after being announced for his first All-Star appearance. Then you have Denver versus Portland. You had Jokic with 41 points. They had, Davian, a NBA record low 1 turnover in this entire game.
Wow.
Yeah. In this entire game.
More security, Jesus.
Yeah, but also, can you imagine being that one guy who made that
was my first thought. I was like, you got the only turnover in the game, fam. We could have gone perfect.
Stop them getting a perfect game. Well, you can always be better. Right. Then you had Atlanta versus Cleveland. Atlanta gave up a wide open dunk for the winner in this game. It was ridiculous. Then you had the NBA All-Star reserves coming out. There's some snubs at the time. Some of them have been, I say corrected, but they've been...
Because all the people are injured.
Yep. But there's still some people that are missing out. And there's some people in the All-Star game that I don't believe should be in there. Right, Wednesday, this is when it was out that Lowry made a possible trade request. He wants to go to Philly, potentially. We'll talk about that a little later. We had Utah versus LA. Now, with AD, this might have been a different case, but Utah dominated LA, which at that point were then on a 4-game losing streak. You had only 19 from LeBron and only 2 others with 10-plus points. Utah, on the other hand, had 6 players with 10-plus points. See, the problem with Utah in the past has been their defense have always been solid. It's never been in question. They have great defense, but it's always been an offensive thing. But with Jordan Clarkson specifically as well, who's coming off the bench for them, he's been fantastic. He's probably in 6 man of the year talks without even thinking about it. He's probably 6 man of the year. But they've got bench production. They've got starting lineup. Gobert had a few games where he scored 20 points. Like, you never saw that from him, really. Right, then you had Charlotte versus Phoenix. LaMelo scored 20 points. You had 33 from Booker. CP3 had 20 and 10 assists. But you had Malik Monk coming off from, I think they're off the bench for Charlotte. 29 points. Good stuff. LaMelo's playing really good basketball as well. He's really showing out to be this year's Rookie of the Year, to be in my fairness. Then you had Golden State Warriors against Indiana. Curry was only 1 from 11 from 3. However, he still had 24 points, and it was enough to beat out the rest of the Indiana, who had 22 from Sabonis and 24 from Brogdon. Golden State Warriors managed to win that one. Then you had OKC and San Antonio Spurs. This was a good game for OKC. I had Van Dort, who had a game winner. He was wide open for the game winner, by the way. Shea had 42 points, a career high. Patty Mills had a double dribble. Patty Mills, one of the most respected veterans. He had a double dribble. So it was near the end. Patty Mills, it was like dribbling the ball. He double dribbled. He picked up the ball with 2 hands.
Yeah.
It's a very lax play for a guy who's been a veteran in this league for fucking years. And especially under Greg Popovich.
Yeah. But saying that, last year I did see LeBron pick up the ball and walk with it on accident without remembering to dribble. So I guess
you go on autopilot sometimes. Yeah. Then you had Atlanta versus Boston, another loss for Boston. You had Gallinari scoring a team high 38 points with a team record 10 threes, which is interesting considering they have Trae Young on that team, and now Gallinari is the one that has the record for most threes in the game. Young, by the way, had 33 in that. This was Boston's third straight loss. Trae Young had an inbound off the back of I think it was Roberts. I can't remember. But he just inbounded it and scored.
Yeah.
That's so dumb, because the most dangerous person on an inbound play is the person inbounding the ball. You don't show your back to them. You don't. There's a rule. You don't do that. I don't know why he was doing that. Right. Then we move on to Thursday. You had Brooklyn versus Orlando. This meant that Brooklyn's streak made it to 8, which is the longest since 2006 when they had Jason Kidd. Kyrie Irving had 27 points and 9 assists, I want to say. Harden had 27 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. Yeah, that's rebounds. Philadelphia versus Dallas. Ben Simmons had 15.7 assists. You had 23 from Joel and 15 from Seth Curry. No one of note from Dallas. Apparently, I didn't give a shit about them. LA Clippers versus Memphis. You had Memphis absolutely shutting down Kawhi and Paul George, who both had 17 points and 13, who had 17 and 13 points respectively. They got the win there. Then you had Denver and Washington. Denver, for the last possession, blew a fast break where there were 4-on-1.
And it was like score 2 to tie and score 3 to win, right?
It was score 2 to tie, and all of them went for a 3. They all went outside. All they had to do was pass inside for the safe 2.
Yeah.
They wanted the victory. They got greedy.
When I saw that, I wondered if that was like in my head when I saw that, I was like, is that just we're avoiding overtime one way or another? Is that something that comes from your team and says, you know what, just take the 3, and if we miss and lose, it doesn't really matter that much.
I think in those current time situations, you're not really thinking of. I don't think they were thinking about the
situation. In my head, I was like, is that a thing? Or then I watched it back a lot, and I'm like,
if it was just a general, if it was a play in the middle of the game, I would have been like, I mean, that's dumb, but like, I get it.
It's like everyone ran to 3. I was like,
everyone ran to 3.
Oh, you all believed in this.
and then they missed.
I know. I just that was such an easy, nice 4-on-1 at that point. If you're a coach,
I'm not joking. So right here, I've got my little paragraph where I put Denver blow 4-on-1 fast break for the game. You had 24 from Jokic, 34 from Murray. Russell Westbrook had 16, 10, and 10. Bradley Beal had, I'm assuming, 33. I only put 3 there. And then underneath this, I put, oh my God, because of how fucking dumb that fast break was.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Then, to round off that, you had Milwaukee versus New Orleans Pelicans. Very interesting matchup because you had Giannis versus Zion, which is very fun to see because they're both very powerful men in their positions. Lonzo seemed scared to shoot on that last shot. He kept on passing it away.
Yeah.
Which worked out earlier in the game. But
what's weird is that Lonzo's actually was not doing great, but is he 40% from deep? I think this year. Like he's
decent. He's playing good.
Yeah,
but he's still a bit inconsistent.
By the way,
he'll have some games where he won't do anything like that.
Now we're talking about Zion versus Giannis. I just want to see if I can get this because I saw a tweet. I want to know. Oh, well, here we go. Because my favorite was Skip Bayless. One sec. Let's kind of.
Well, while you're finding that, I'll just find. So Zion scored 34 while Giannis had 38, and Milwaukee ended up winning the game.
Yeah. So here we go. Because I saw this tweet. Because obviously, we work. I've got time, so I normally I'm going to watch the highlights. Now I go onto Twitter before. Let's see what I really want to see what the highlight games are before what people are talking about. And then I saw this tweet. I was like, don't know how much.
An afterthought.
Yeah.
An afterthought.
Yeah. I was like, so I was reading that tweet like, firstly, Zion over Giannis is, and then he went, if they went afterthought, I'm like, isn't he the number one? I was like, good old NBA.
I mean, you can make an argument that Ingram is the number one option, but also, come on now.
It was the he'd average 40. I was like, okay, sure. But yeah,
he'd be losing games more games than he is.
But yeah, I just saw that tweet and I was like, there's like 4 to 5 things wrong there. I don't like that. But yeah, I love watching Zion versus Giannis. That's a nice. It's like a big man battle. I like that. That's
power, so much power.
Yeah, it's
in one position. In those
two people who literally create fear in defenders. Because if you take the wrong step, you're murdered.
Just run at them. Just have them run at each other. That'd be fun. Right. LA Lakers versus Portland. LA managed to win. So you had 28 from LeBron. You had 35 from Damian Lillard, who had 5 threes. Both teams were on a losing streak. Portland ended up extending to 4, but LA stopped at 4. So then you had my favorite game of the week. Yeah, Miami versus Utah Jazz. Butler scored 33 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds. They ended up cooling off the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell had 30 points. This, at the time, had Miami going 5th in the East, despite their slow start. But they're 7th now after the other games that played the rest of the night.
Yeah, game behind with a game to play, so it's not really.
Yeah. Dragic also had 26 points. I was very happy with this because, Miami won, first of all. They beat a 1 seed, but not only that, but it wasn't because Utah were playing bad. Utah were having a good game. It was just Miami were better.
Which is
That's it.
It's kind of what you want to see when.
Also, Miami are now 7-3 in the last 10 games, and they're on a little bit of a win streak, if I'm correct. They've been on a few lately. Like they had a 4-game winning streak before. They're on a 5-game winning streak right now.
Yeah, well, they are playing a lot better than they were, which is really good to see.
At the beginning, there was a lot of, COVID protocols and injuries. Dragic was still, he seems better now, but he was still suffering a little bit from, his little tear, plantar fascia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. That's right. Sports science bitch. Yeah. So yeah, as a Miami Heat fan, I am very happy to see this. Then you had Boston, who finally won against Indiana too, which is a decent team to win against. It was a good thing Kemba decided to show up and score 32 points because you only had 9 points from Jason Tatum and Brown only had 15 points.
So, okay, did you see the thing behind the Jason Tatum 9 points? So
No.
there's basically NBA 2K tweeted out the. While I'm talking about this, I'll find it. They tweeted out that there was like 38. They were like, this weekend, there's 30% off NBA 2K21.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said, however many points Jason Tatum scores in this game, every point he scores is 1% off NBA 2K21 extra. So everyone was like, 25 points. That's like 55% off NBA 2K21. Oh, this is great. And then he scored 9. And everyone was like, you motherfucker. This was the game you chose about gaming? You mother. So everyone on Twitter was like, why? Why have you done this to us? Like,
it's a conspiracy. 2K paid him off.
That's the first thing everyone said. They were like, nah. I was like, no, the timing of it was great as well.
Well, it's a good thing Kemba scored 32. He's been getting a lot of shit from Boston fans lately. And, people in general, in all fairness. And he has been playing really badly, but, he managed to pull out this one. Sabonis had 24 points. Then you had Golden State Warriors versus Charlotte. Draymond had 19 assists to go along with 11 points and 12 rebounds. Triple-double. Curry had 29 points. LaMelo had 22. Oubre also had 27 points. Then you had LA Clippers versus Memphis. LA managed to get their revenge. Ja Morant ended up getting ejected after being very upset about an uncalled foul call. Kawhi had 30. Paul George only had 13 again, though. PG-13. He's really living up to that moniker. 2 games in a row, scoring 13 points. Then last night, Saturday night, you had Dallas versus Brooklyn. Dallas ended up beating Brooklyn, which means that their win streak just stayed at 8. However, you had no Kyrie or KD. Harden had 29 points. Porzingis had 18. Luka had 27. Yep. Cleveland versus Philly. Cavs ended up surviving 42 points from Embiid in OT. 24 points from Ben Simmons, but you had 28 from Sexton, 25 from Garland, and a 14-10 double-double from Jared Allen.
Sexland is playing well. Thank you.
Sexland it's coming back. Denver versus OKC. You had Jokic scoring a triple-double. He had 19 points, 12 assists, 11 rebounds. You had 26 from Murray, 20 from MPJ. Then Denver were up as much as 37 points. Yeah. Shea only had 13, but they had Baisley, who scored 22 off the bench for them. Not really much. That's like a spark for OKC in that game. Utah versus Orlando. The character of a championship team isn't like whether or not they lose. It's how they react after losing, and they bounce back instantly against Orlando. Behind Donovan Mitchell's 31 points. Vucevic scored 34 for Orlando. Then you had New Orleans Pelicans versus San Antonio Spurs. This is the game where DeMar DeRozan returned. He had 32 points. He was 61% from the field, but you had 29 points from Ingram, 23 points from Zion. And that was this week, Davian.
Also, before that, I don't know if it's good news. Karis LeVert is almost back.
Yeah,
he's had his left kidney carcinoma. But yeah, it was announced yesterday that he should be back within March around the All-Star break.
Around the All-Star break.
So yeah, he had a very lucky. I mean, that's part obviously the Harden trade, and he was quite lucky that the medical showed that he had that issue. So he's been able to go have that surgery, and I think the Pacers could really use him right now. So
yeah, they're starting to.
Yeah,
they had a pretty good start, and then they've started to.
They were playing well, and they've had a little slump, and I feel like he might come back and bring a boost to get them back into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah,
Cavs have got winning 3 in a row now.
Yeah.
Damn.
The East. I'm loving the East this year. Like it's the fact that 14th and the first are set for about 9 games, meaning that you go on a 5-game run, you can go to like 4th from it.
I mean, you look at the West. There's a lot less parity, but you've got from 10th position upwards is looking tight.
So for me, the reason why I'm trying to is that when you look at the Lakers have been able to take their foot completely off the gas. Like they know AD's injured, and they've been like on a lot of their games have been coasting.
They lost 4 in a row, and they're still
Same
with the Trailblazers, who are currently.
What happened with the Washington game? Lakers played well for the first half of that game, and then completely coasted and lost the game, but they just didn't care. And like, obviously they beat Portland, but that was a bit of I'm not gonna lie. Part of me believes the only reason they beat Portland is because Latan tried to slander LeBron in the media. I feel like that was enough for him to say.
Yeah, told him not to.
He said he doesn't like people who do too much, stick to basketball. He basically told him to shut up and dribble. and LeBron was like, whoa, 1 sec. I'll beat them. Give me the mic. I do my research. I was like, okay. But yeah, they've been able to lose a lot of like 4 games in a row. And then last week they lost about 3. They probably lost, they're 5-5 in the last 10 games. And they're 3rd in the West. You do that in the East, and you probably drop down about 4 places.
Well, in all fairness, Philadelphia are 5-5, but they were well and ahead.
Yeah, they were so far ahead.
And now in Brooklyn are only half a game behind.
Yeah, and when you compare that to Brooklyn,
Milwaukee, who had a 5-game losing streak, are now on a 4-game winning streak and are 1.5 games behind there.
Yeah,
but then you got.
I think with this year, because of obviously we know everything, like we know what's going on. Like, if you're smart, you know that things aren't going to be the normal. You got so many protocols, so much this, so much that I'm kind of just like sit back and like I'm enjoying the chaos. I'm not going to read too much into anything. I'm not going to read like, oh, they're first, like, because anything can happen. I'm just going to sit back. I'm enjoying the basketball. I'm enjoying the chaos, enjoying the ups and downs. I'm enjoying the surprises like the Knicks. And then when teams go on losing streaks, I'm not quantifying it too much. And then they go back on winning runs. I'm like, we'll just see. And then we'll get to the playoffs. And, we'll see what our matchups are looking like.
Yep.
But yeah, although this week was fun. And Miami beating Utah was great. That was a great.
I know. And they're on their way up. They're going to be in the playoffs, which is enough for me.
Yeah, the thing with the Miami is you don't really care where they end up. Miami's the type of team where if you're the top seeds, you really hope they do well because you don't want them in the first round. Like, you want Miami to either be out the playoffs or like near enough you have to play it because a first 8 seed you're playing Miami isn't a first 8 seed.
If I was Brooklyn and I came up against Miami, I'd be shitting.
I'm screwing it. I'm pissed. I'm the last 4 games.
I can't play defense. And
on the last 4 games
Miami
of the season,
is defense.
On the last 4 games of the season, I'm trying to like adjust myself so I don't play them. I'm like, yo, how many games can I lose? Can I drop down a bit? Can I get away from them?
2K ask me how much I can help shave off it. I'll help you out.
You know what's funny? So it's like watching those, that 4-1 break moment. For me, that's why I stopped betting on basketball because it's pissing me off. If I was watching that, my first thought was if I was watching that and I bet for them to win and they do that, I'm pissed. If I bet on them to win in overtime and I'm like, just go to overtime and they lose, I'm throwing things. It happened so many times in different games. I'm like, I bet on the Wizards to beat Lakers. When I went to sleep, the Lakers were off so much at halftime. I was like, I've lost. Fuck it, I'm going to sleep. I wake up when I've won. I'm like, you motherfucker, what?
That's why I love basketball. And it's like when people say basketball is just like a game in the last quarter type thing.
Nah, it's not.
It's a lie. It's a mind game all the way up to the end.
Yeah, I like the fourth quarter. Like, we look at the MJ things I was watching the other day, where he's like, okay, I'll do the same thing 5 times. So when it comes to the 6th time, you expect me to do the same thing again. And I watched a lot of that, and I'm like, I've seen a lot of players doing that where they're like, especially like LeBron will pass, and then by the time you're so excited to pass, it's like, oh, shut. And you're like, you motherfucker, you got me.
If I remember it was like last year in the bubble, the game 6 of Boston versus Miami, up until the end of the third quarter, it was pretty standard Miami offense. But in the fourth quarter, they just passed the ball to Bam and just let him go. That was it. And that's something that Boston were just not prepared for.
So something about coaching that really makes me laugh is it's how they identify weak spots So it's really funny watching a team pick out one player and say, "You're the weak spot. We're just gonna go at whoever got you is getting the ball." Like,
yeah, whoever offense. It's a
yeah,
thing.
like
Yeah.
it's like
Whoever.
it was like was it Lou last year with they were like whoever's
Yeah.
guarding him,
Yeah, it
that's
was.
your ball, your
They
ball.
played whoever offense on Lou Will.
Yeah,
Lou Will.
yeah, like doesn't matter. Go get him. Go get your bucket. He ain't defending
Go
shit.
attack this man right now.
That's gonna be fun for Brooklyn in the playoffs.
It's what LA did in the finals with Tyler and Duncan Robinson.
Yeah. Whoever's got them, you got the mismatch. You can't go, go. Yeah, it's really fun.
Right.
Yeah, speaking of coaching, what were we doing?
I can do Chris Explains first. We'll go afterwards. Yeah, you get time to relax. Get time to relax.
No, I'm all in for this because.
All right. Okay, so right. Today's Chris Explains is the NBA logo. Right. So, in the last couple of days, Kyrie has been very vocal about changing the NBA logo, saying Black Kings built the league. So to honor that, he thinks that the late and great Kobe Bryant, and so to honor the late and great Kobe Bryant and the other players who helped build this league, what it is today, we should make him the NBA logo. But who is the logo now? How did we get that logo? Why should we change it? And can we change it? That's what hopefully we'll all be able to answer at the end of what I've wrote down here. Chris Explains. So let's start with who is the logo. It's Jerry West. The league won't officially tell you it is, but it is. Jerry West is a Hall of Famer, championship winner of one regular season MVP, and also the only finals MVP to go to the losing team. He's on the list of the top 50 basketball players ever, and for sure one of the best basketball players of that era. The era where the NBA was just starting out. And in 1971, in the middle of his career, the logo was created to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the league. Back then, basketball wasn't just one league. There was also the ABA. So the NBA commissioner at the time, J. Walter Kennedy, wanted the NBA to stand out, as neither league actually had an official logo, or at least nothing that really stood out for too long. Kennedy wanted something recognizable for his brand. And that matters because, I mean, how often do you subscribe to like a YouTube channel that doesn't have a picture? You don't really do that, do you? But if they got a picture, it doesn't matter how shit it is. You know, it's recognizable. Something. Brands. We know brands. So I wanted a brand. So Commissioner Kennedy went to Alan Siegel to develop a logo. Alan went very simplistic and went through photos of the league's top players. He went through Bill Russell. He went through Wilt Chamberlain. He went through Elgin Baylor, those guys. But ultimately, he ended up with a photo of Jerry West and actually took that photo and created a silhouette of him. It wasn't direct trace, but it was Jerry. In fact, here it is. That's it. So you can kind of tell it is him. That's the silhouette he used. It's kind of like in the same vein. Obviously, it's not a direct tracing, like he said. But it's there. You could tell that's Jerry West. So, yeah. Alan Siegel said himself, it's Jerry West. He created the logo. It's Jerry West. But like I said in the beginning, the NBA won't officially tell you it is. Why? Why won't they do that? Well, because if they did, they would have to give Jerry a cut of money every time they used it. I mean, look at where it is. It's everywhere. Jerseys, balls, backboards, courts, TV broadcasts. Any little bit of merchandise to do with the NBA, it's there. That sum would be astronomical. Just 1% of that money would be in the millions. So why doesn't Jerry West just sue them? Why doesn't he just get that money? Well, you know, Jerry West is a very humble and introverted guy. He feels like he's rich enough, and he doesn't really care about money. He said it brings him unwanted. In fact, he says it brings him unwanted attention, and that it feels like it's put a spotlight on himself and his career that he doesn't want. He doesn't want to be singled out when there was other great players in that league. In fact, in April 2017, Jerry West was on record saying he is flat out embarrassed and wish they'd make the logo someone else. Even going as far to say that the NBA should be embarrassed too. It should be said, though, that he does consider it an honor to be chosen as that logo. Right? So, Kyrie wants Kobe, and I'll show you that image right now. That's kind of what I want. You got the normal NBA logo on the left. You got that picture that he tweeted, that Kyrie tweeted of Kobe on top of it. And to the right of that, you got what it looked like silhouetted. I mean, it's not perfect, but I mean, the one on the left was just drawn over like a little tracing kind of. We could do that again. Do that again. Make Kobe fit in there. It'd be great. Like, so Kyrie wants Kobe, like I'm sure a lot of people do after his tragic passing. But this kind of debate has gone on for years. This isn't the first time this has been mentioned. In fact, when Kobe passed away, this kind of thing was mentioned by a lot of the YouTube NBA community. And in fact, Jerry West himself has been on record saying that it should be Michael Jordan. Could you imagine the iconic Jumpman as the NBA logo? In fact, don't imagine it. Don't imagine it. I've got a picture right here, bottom right there. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Okay, they can't really use that because there's a lot of legal issues with that. But as you can see there's other iconic images of MJ they can use. The angle of the dunk, the final game-winning shot against Utah, the shrug. Absolutely nothing while he was on the Washington Wizards. We don't want that. We forget about that. But they have millions and millions of images taken of MJ. He's considered the GOAT. Why not? Okay, what about LeBron? He's one of the most dominant forces in the league for the last era. Why not Steph Curry? He's basically changed how the league plays. Kyrie is right. Black Kings built this league. It's a league predominantly occupied by black people for almost its entirety and should be a leading force when it comes to equal treatment and movements like the Black Lives Matter. The NBA has almost been integral to civil rights movements. You got players like Bill Russell, who I explained in a few episodes ago, helping with that. So at the bare minimum, the logo does need to change, and it should be a black player. Having it honor Kobe would just be a cherry on top and a great sentiment. His wife, Vanessa Bryant, has said she's okay with it. Maybe the NBA should just look to make a deal. Maybe having those royalties instead go to charities like Black Lives Matter. Either way, it's pretty much universally agreed. And even the logo himself thinks it's time for a change. And that has been Chris Explains. I forgot to take that off. There we go. That's been Chris Explains. So, Davian, who's not here, he's left. Great. So, yeah. The NBA logo should definitely change, I think. I mean, Kyrie's sentiments were mostly based on that premise of it should be a black male. I can't imagine it really being a current player. So, like, Steph Curry, maybe not. Maybe LeBron. Like, I know he's playing right now, but he's LeBron. Michael Jordan, certainly in the running for that. I can't imagine him being an old player. A really old player like Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain. Magic, maybe not so much considering how his career ended. Same with Karl Malone. We won't talk about why. Kobe, I don't see a problem with it being Kobe. It'd be a great way, and Vanessa Bryant's okay with it. It's the money aspect that really needs to get sorted out, because royalties and the NBA logo, and maybe if they changed it and just didn't admit that it was Kobe, but it's clearly Kobe. We don't know. No one will talk about it. We just accept it. Move on. So, Davian, how do you feel about changing the NBA logo?
You know damn well I have been here for about 7 minutes. I had a NAS issue.
NAS issue?
Yes.
Okay, but how do you feel about the NBA logo?
But in terms of changing the logo, I know something we've talked about for years. I don't know. It's one of the logos. One of the things that I've never really thought about that much, and obviously.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they made it a player, and also it should represent most of the league. And let's be honest, basketball is predominantly black.
Yeah, I think I would be fully down for changing the logo a bit. I think it'd be nice
if you made it a player. If you made it a player that was very popular nowadays, like a Michael Jordan, like a Kobe, it would be one of the most recognizable and favorite logos. Like, who the fuck is that guy on the MLB thing? I don't know. What's the NFL logo? It's like a shield and shit, isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah,
I don't know.
I think
Major League Soccer has does it even have a logo?
It does, but I think it's just like ML. It's like the letters, I think. It's one of them, but none of these. Normally, these logos don't have. The MLS Soccer logo is a shield that says MLS in the top right, and then the bottom right it's white. It's actually disgusting. It's actually the worst look. But yeah, in terms of changing the logo, I think someone like Kobe, I actually agree with it. Like, I think it'd be a good way to honor someone, especially someone who's done so much in the league. I think. Obviously, there's no way of pleasing everyone. There's no way of
No, I'm literally. I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't just accept Kobe being.
But I think if we all accept it,
it's literally just the money issue. It's literally just the royalties from it.
But then I think in that way, that would actually be okay. In my way, like if obviously if you're looking after the families or like that, I think in that way, like I think. It's a good thing, and it would probably be one of them where, obviously, it's always going to be a business decision, and they're very lucky that even you can call someone the logo Jerry West. And
yeah,
sorry, you heard what I could hear in my ear. That was mad. But yeah, in terms of that it's the business issue. Obviously, currently they've been very lucky to get away with the fact that they just escaped without paying the royalties for the character likeness. But I think I'm saying I'd want Kobe as a logo. I think that'd be like you said, it's representative of the league. It's kind of the idea for it looks pretty cool as well.
I'd love Kobe as a logo. Yeah, I think at the bare minimum it needs to be a black player. It needs to change and it needs to be a black player. The guy who is the logo doesn't even want to be the logo.
I think for me, that's the thing. That's the thing for me where it's like.
But
I've heard so many. I've heard
the NBA. He isn't the logo.
Yeah, no. Like it's like, fam. I've heard literally a nickname of the logo. There, it's known, but it's like an under the table thing. Like, no, he's not the logo.
It's Raleigh, and it's not even an under the table thing. Like it's literally someone saying the sky is blue, and them going, no, it isn't. Yes, it is. Look, it is.
Yeah, it's
it isn't.
When the guy who is the logo says, "I'm the logo," I am the logo. I don't want to be the logo, but
I am the logo. Said it's Jerry West.
It's well known, and I think
what he did, he took a silhouette of Jerry West, and drew it.
Yeah, and I think a change would be good. I think for me, honestly, the being a black player thing actually doesn't affect me that much in terms of. But I can see how that would for others, and I think
considering everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think modernising the logo, making that change, and then if you do that, and then it happens to be a black person as well that is that logo, and that is your standard for the athleticism that we show. Like I feel like every player where that logo actually matters. It means something. That's people train their whole life to get to the NBA. I feel like if you modernize that logo and that logo is something that, it is someone, and if it's a silhouette of Kobe or whatever, and that just adds another layer to it. And I think it's something I'd like to see. And if they're going to do it, then, now is probably the right time to look at that, make that change.
It is.
But yeah.
Cool. That was it. There wasn't really much history.
Also, I'd like to give you I'd like to give you 30 seconds update of what you missed. So Nas dropped me off some food.
Oh.
T offered him a hug, so Nas chased him through my yard. Then I was coming back to the podcast, and Nas picked up a knife and chased T through the yard. I bought a knife, not a sharp one. But then he ran outside, remembered where he is, and remembered that he's in a very he's in an area that this So then he kind of tried to put the thing down, and then he also tried to buy the car that's on the drive, and then he left. It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
I felt emotional. Right. Anyway, back to basketball.
Can I make NASA logo?
Let's make that. Hashtag make NASA logo. NBA stands for Nassim. Basketball brings ailments. Right. So, in other news, this week we had the All-Star reserves being picked. Right. So I have a peek here. Right. Come on. Right here. These are All-Star reserves, David. So from the West, you had AD, Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, CP3, Zion. For the East, you had Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Vucevic. Obviously, with AD going out, he got replaced by Devin Booker, who was touted to be one of the snubs, and rightfully so. He deserves to be on there probably more than, I'd say, CP3, who's on his own team. Although CP3 is such a huge thing, Devin Booker's arguably been the best player. On the East, you for a starter, Kevin Durant, who is the captain. The captain. So that means Jason Tatum has been promoted to All-Star starter, and he got replaced by Sabonis, who was also another snub there. Which begs the question, now that we have all of our All-Stars, I'll get just a list of them right here. All of our All-Stars, plus Booker and Sabonis.
Who's the new captain?
I don't know, actually. On the East, it'll probably be Giannis again.
Aww.
It'll probably be Giannis. I don't know who's the leading vote getter. It might be Steph, actually. Is it leading vote for the East or? I don't know. It's probably be Giannis. It's probably be Giannis because he's the top there. Yeah, he's the top up there. Or is it because I don't know? Right. So, So let's talk. Let's be positive for now. We've got a few first-time All-Stars. So we got Devin Booker, obviously managed. Oh wait, no, Devin Booker and Sabonis are in here. Never mind. Right. So you got Devin Booker making his first All-Star appearance. You've got Zach LaVine making his first All-Star appearance. Julius Randle and Zion Williamson all making their first All-Star appearance. Deserved?
Yeah, I think so.
I think, they're in teams that have been playing ridiculously well, like really well, above and beyond what we expected them. Devin Booker, Phoenix playing really good. They're a top 4 in the league. I think they're 4th maybe, but they're in the contention in the West. You have LaVine from Chicago, who are in the playoffs. You've got Zion, the Pelicans. They're not doing well, but he's Zion, so obviously he's going to get in there. He's played really well this season. Ingram is arguably... So, at least, for a guy who's second best on his team, Skip Bayless, he managed to get an All-Star nod. So,
I think I'm really happy for Julius Randle. That's what I was going to say.
Julius Randle, whose Knicks team have been playing really well.
He deserves it. That's a real big... I think he's one of them where I look at it and go, okay, that for, like for some people, you kind of do this over and over again. For Julius Randle, I think he's really earned, deserved, and worked his way there.
Yeah.
To this honor. So yeah, I'm glad for him.
Cool. So yeah, had those guys, but are there any more snubs? Okay, I do this with you. Right. You can if there's any snubs for you, you have if you put one in, you're gonna have to take one out.
Take one out. Yeah.
I feel like we both know who we're taking out. Put a person in. Because there's I made a list earlier in the week of snubs, and obviously Booker and Sabonis were at the top of my list.
Yeah, so the thing is, for me,
now they're on.
So for me, every time I've looked at this list, Booker was my first where I was like, how is he not in the thing?
He had more vote in a lot of cases. He had more votes than CP3. I think it was just fan voting that really got him done.
Oh, no, look, I don't think. Wait,
it's something like that. Booker was really high up there.
Western Conference. No, so in the fan votes, Devin Booker was 5th with 615,000 votes. Chris Paul was 7th with 391,000.
Oh, there you go. It was just the other way around then.
Yeah, fans voted for Devin Booker.
I think it was other players.
Which makes sense, I guess, because Chris Paul's a vet, and I think he will, get more votes. But yeah, because you go first. I'm
trying to find. Right, so I've got 2 in mind. Considering the guy that I want to take out, I'd probably put in Trae Young because he's missing.
Yeah.
I take out Vucevic, by the way.
Wait, who are the starters again?
Giannis, Bradley Beal, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Nikola Jokic.
Oh, it's Kyrie. Yeah. I'm trying to look at the guards. Okay, yeah.
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 I have no problem with them. I mean, Luka said himself that he thinks that Damian Lillard probably should have got the starter nod instead of him. But he's got a lot of Eastern Europe. He's got a lot of European votes.
Yeah.
That's probably, not going to lie, why Vucevic managed to make it into the All-Star game.
Yeah.
But then again, you'd make an argument. I think Bradley Beal's an All-Star. I don't think he deserved the starter nod, but I think it's because he's been so good on a team.
Yeah, the narrative. He was scoring huge points on losses.
The narrative that was going
Chris, I've got a question. So if we're taking someone out, is it Nikola Vucevic from both of us?
Yeah, I said.
Is he first one out?
Yeah, I told you. Yeah. I picked Vucevic. Fuck him. I don't want him. No, he's a great player. He's a great player. He I'd probably say he was a bit of a snub.
I'll be honest. I was scrolling down the whole of the. I was looking down the whole of the list. Like, I was like, who do I take out? And then I got to near the end. I'm like, oh, you.
Vucevic. I take out Vucevic, but also, so I'd probably replace him with Trae Young if I had to stick to the same conference. However, if I didn't, I'd put in probably the guy who's probably got the title of the best player in the league without having an all-star appearance, and that's Mike Conley. Never had an all-star appearance. Never. He probably deserves one. He's been playing really well for the Utah Jazz. Who else have I got here? Yeah, I've got Devin, Sabonis, but they're all in it. Connolly, Young, yeah. DeMar DeRozan is another one as well. He's been injured. He's recently come back. How much was he? He was playing really well at the basketball record. DeMar DeRozan. He was playing really well at the start of this year. He went off to a hot start, and then he got injured. Like this season, he's averaging 20 and 7 assists. He's scoring, I think, what might be a career high in field goal percentage. Where is he? Field goal percentage. Okay, no, he scored better last year, but he's nearly 50% from the field. And it is the second highest 3-point percentage. And he's...
Nice.
Yeah. DeMar DeRozan is doing bits.
Because do you think the All-Star voting system works?
Well, it's less broken than it was.
Okay, because it's only because. So I'm looking at it because there's no one I really think. I don't think, and because obviously Devin made it, and obviously whatever. There's no one I'm like looking at as a convenient stub. But I was just going through the votes for this thing, the final tally, and I'm like, I was looking at that. Obviously, Chris Paul got 391,000, then was voting in ahead of Devin Booker, who got 615. Alex Caruso was 8th in guards voting and got 330,000 votes.
Was that fan voting though?
Yeah, and then Klay Thompson
that's because it used to be simply fan voting, wasn't it? At one point, it used to be simply fan voting, but then because fans are fans, and you had that thing with Zaza Pachulia, almost becoming an all-star starter when he was averaging like fucking half a minute a game.
It was half a minute and one Kawhi injury, but
yeah. So yeah.
It's only because I saw Klay Thompson and voted 9th in the fan vote, and I'm like, you guys are just but yeah.
That's the thing. People wasting their votes, and it could go to better players like Devin Booker or Sabonis.
Okay, so but from looking at this, if obviously because KD's not there, it will be Giannis. It will be Giannis or Embiid, depending on how that works. If it's purely on fan votes, it's Giannis. But them two are close. They're both in the 4 mil. I'd like to see Embiid versus LeBron. That'd be a nice.
It'd be a change, you know. Yeah. We've had like 3 years in a row where it's been. Giannis.
We literally had Steph, LeBron, Giannis, like. But yeah, I mean, obviously, injuries have changed it a bit, but like, I did think Devin Booker deserved an All-Star appearance outright without even. I don't think he needed an injury to get in. I thought that was a bit unfair. Yeah, like I said last week, the All-Star game was like it's here, innit? Like,
yeah, it's not the only thing that's here, Davian. Here's the rest of how the weekend and how that's gonna go next week. You got the skills challenge and the 3-point challenge on at
before, and then
before at 6 at Eastern time. And then you have the 70th All-Star game and the slam dunk contest at halftime. Do we know who the entrants? Do we have entrants?
All I've heard is people say they're not doing it. Like, I've heard more people opt out than opt in. I can have a look. It's next week, so you'd think that
they'd have people for it.
Yeah, okay, I'll have a look. Slam Dunk 2021. No, that's the Rock Festival. NBA. Okay. Obi Toppin's in it.
Who?
The Nick rookie. That's about what I've got so far.
Oh, Obi Toppin, yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's not going to be great, is it? It's not going to be great.
Literally. So Zion Williamson is thinking about participating.
Well, he's there anyway, so.
Yeah, Zach LaVine is not doing it.
Nah, he said outright that he's not going to do it. He's just not doing it.
Zion said never say never, and Obi Toppin is confirmed. So
Obi Toppin might be the only winner of the slam dunk contest to win, just because he was the only one who fucking showed up.
Imagine he just goes in there like, it's Obi Toppin, one-handed dunk, 6, but he's won anyway. He's the only one who wants to do it.
He fucking misses. He does a layup instead.
His last dunk is just a 3-pointer.
I could win the slam dunk contest. But also, you have the taco skills challenge and your 3-point contest.
The 3-point contest, though, yes. And
that's a vibe. I can see people joining in the 3-point contest more. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have what? I think you gotta have Duncan.
No, they should have done. You know, okay.
You gotta have Duncan Robinson.
No, so here's what I think they should have done.
JJ Redick.
No, for once, I think they should have gone the other way. We should have accepted that this year was just dog shit. We should have had the 3-point contest.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, we should have a 3-point contest with everyone who can't shoot threes. That's a real 3-point contest right there.
Dwight Howard, get him in there.
But yeah, Damian Lillard's in the 3-point contest.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
How many people are allowed in there?
5, 7. I don't remember how many.
I think it's more 7. They've had more lately. Like it used to be only like a few. How many participants?
1 sec. It is 5, 6. It's 9. Last year there were 9 people.
How many? Okay, who would you pick to be in that? Because I 100% had have Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, JJ Redick, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry. So that's 5 of mine.
If Duncan Robinson isn't in the 3-point contest, I'm writing in my room. I'm not leaving the house. But if he says no, that's different. But if he's not suggested after, he is just marksman like.
He is sniper. American sniper. Yeah.
I guess I don't know how they do it because for me, I would go down the highest.
Who won it last year?
Last year it was Devin Booker.
Oh, so he might do it again.
Wait, let me check. No. It was Buddy Hield.
Oh,
Buddy Hield beat Devin Booker in the finals. It was.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But last year's lineup was Davis Bertans, Devin Booker, Devontae Graham, Joe Harris, Buddy Hield, Zach LaVine, Duncan Robinson, and Trae Young.
Trae Young might do it, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, to be honest, I think for me, the 3-point contest is I'm more excited than that than the game. Like 3-point contest, you can kind of come, do your thing quickly, sharp shoot, and then get out. Like it's not.
I mean, you also got the skills challenge. I mean, Bam won it last year, I think.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he won last year because that was when did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he won. Either that or he got to the finals.
I'm sure. I think he did win because I remember there was a big thing about the Heat winning big in the. Yeah, Bam won.
Yeah, because they won that, and Derek Jones Jr. won the slam dunk contest last year. However, I don't see him doing it again.
Did he win though?
Yes, he did.
But did he win though?
Officially, yeah.
Oh yeah, officially, yeah. But did Dwayne Wade say Miami all the way?
I don't give a shit.
I was so biased, but I loved it. It was like
it's a meme. Every meme of Dwayne Wade that weekend was hilarious. The one of him looking confused. That's great. Love it. Just love it.
Yeah. I'm interested. I'm interested in the lineup. They've got 7 days to. So far, they've had Damian Lillard and Obi Toppin. So we'll see.
Yay!
I'm assuming more gets announced.
And then on Sunday you have the game, and this is the format of the game. So, the 2021 NBA All-Star Game will have the same competitive format as 2022. The 2 NBA All-Star teams will compete to win each quarter of their respective beneficiaries. Each of the first 3 quarters will begin with a score of 0-0 and will last 12 minutes. The winner of each 12-minute quarter, first, second, and third, will be the team that scores the most points within that quarter. The fourth quarter will be untimed, and the teams will play to a final target score, meaning that the game will end with a made basket or a made free throw instead of with the the clock running out. The final score, the final score will be determined by taking the leading team's total cumulative score through 3 quarters and adding 24 points. The 24 represented Kobe Bryant's jersey number. The first team to reach or surpass the final target score will win the NBA All-Star Game. So it's the same as last year. And also you got the charities. So it kind of makes me feel like LeBron might care a little bit about it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
But either way, it's going to a charity, so why should you care? I mean, well, yeah, I don't.
By the way, that's one of my favorite things about last year. So one of my favorite things about last year was it was the idea that they were like, okay, we're playing harder because we're winning money for charity, but also stopping money for charity. I don't care, block. I was like, yeah, fuck it, imagine.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There it is.
But yeah,
I want the whole gif of him looking confused.
but I mean, I like this all-star format. I think if that's what they're gonna go with for like, it was a thing for last year, obviously because of the Kobe. But if that is the thing they're gonna carry on with, then I'm okay with it. I think we can. It makes it for charity, which makes it nice thing. I like the fact that each quarter is different, so you're not 10 quarters off. You can actually just it's a different format of the game. But yeah, I think if this is what they're gonna go with, at least it's something different. At least it's something.
Yep.
I think the fourth quarter last year it was. I think AD won it on the free throws where he missed the first free throw on purpose just to give him like extra pressure to win the game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Get ready.
But yeah, I think. Oh, sorry.
There we go.
But yeah, so yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think honestly, at this point, if you're everything's happening one day. It's not an all-star weekend. I think if we're at this point, it's happening. Obviously, we know defense isn't going to be played that hard, but I think these guys could still have fun with it.
Yeah,
I think these guys have still a little bit of fun with it. I know that like some people like LeBron aren't going to want, but like I feel like if it's your first all-star game or this is your chance to make a moment. So we'll see what happens. I think it will still be a fun because it's all compressed. It's gonna be a fun watch because everything's happening at once. So you don't have to it's like skill challenge, 3-point game, dunk contest, second half of the game, we're done, and then we move on. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. I feel like it's gonna be one of them. I think the game itself might not be that interesting. I think I wouldn't be surprised if one team take one first quarter off, the other team takes second quarter off, and like, okay, we split that bit, and then
try and make the scores even.
Yeah, and then we'll see. We'll see the fourth, because obviously, isn't it like? Because obviously the fourth quarter is just 2 a score, so I guess at some point I'm guaranteeing that like some of these quarters are gonna be like 50-64 because managers gonna be shooting everywhere, just
taking threes. Yeah, right. Other than that, another interesting thing happening this week was you had TWolves firing Ryan Saunders. Not a surprise. TWolves are the worst team this season. And they hire Toronto assistant Chris Finch almost instantly.
Yeah.
No backstory to this. So obviously, the T-Wolves had the worst injury, which is down to like worst record, which is usually down to some injuries. D'Lo and Kat have only played 5 games together since D'Lo was traded over.
Wow.
Because of injuries. Yeah, 5 whole games. Yeah. But it was a bit of a quick hire. Like it was almost instantly announced. So there's been a lot put into question about this.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally a guy on the bench, David Vanterpool, who's worked with the Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard and McCollum, like within their own system. Like, why didn't you just use him?
Yeah,
he's there. Use him. Chris Finch is from outside. However, it is worth noting that the GM was going to hire Chris Finch in 2019. But decided to make Ryan Saunders the head coach. Ryan Saunders is the son of the late great Flip Saunders, who coached the T-Wolves during their KG years. So a very highly respected coach in that organization. So people are putting into question about why they didn't do that. Why did they do this? Why did they hire Chris Finch so instantly? Why was it so quick? Why didn't they just go for someone within their bubble, as it were? So you got Damian Lillard and McCollum talking about that. You had Stephen A. Talking about, well, this is probably just another case of white privilege, I assume, is what he talked about. I haven't actually said what he talked about, but he's been saying that a lot lately. And sometimes, it's kind of right.
Yeah.
In this case, it's hard to disagree. But there is a backstory to it, so I can kind of get it. The GM himself is of Hispanic, so he's the minority himself. But still, it doesn't send a good message.
No.
It doesn't send a good message, especially to the people in that organization and to, David Vanterpool, who's there. He's worked with this team. And you just hire a guy straight away without he didn't even get an interview. There was no interviews. It was just hired straight away. That's how quick it was.
Wow. Yeah.
Because then at least you have him going in, and you can tell him, well, this is why we didn't hire you, because we think you could have done better explaining how you wanted to do this with the team. Blah 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 blah. Chances to improve. So later on down the line, if this hiring doesn't work out, or if he wants to go somewhere else, he knows, I can do better in this aspect and this aspect. But he wasn't even given an interview. No one was given an interview. It was just they just hired Chris Finch. That's it. Dumb.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's one of them that that clearly this is something like you can't deny that there's something that was already planned, already had in mind, and a switch has been made. I've seen a lot of backlash. I've seen a couple backlash about it. I think I don't want to go to the white privilege stuff because for me, I'm like, that's like it is what it is, and I don't think
it's hard to not talk about it though.
No, it's not. As I was saying, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like everyone's gonna go through that lane. I think which is one of the things that is tough, and I think when you look at it, it's like it's one of those things where things sometimes don't add up, and it's like why, like. But one of the great things about basketball has been that I've read, especially in the last year, especially since Corona's happened, it's been the instant call out of these things. So it's been like, that's weird, call it out straight away, and now we can talk about it, question it, and say, why is this happening? I think as an isolated incident, it's probably not an issue. It's one of the things where, like you said, he'd already had him in mind for a hiring. There's other things behind it, those kind of conversations probably happened a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's not like a new thing that the TWolves have been doing bad. So these conversations have probably happened, then they make a switch and they know what they want to do. So isolated, it's fine. Like, you can write that one off as, it was a business decision, they knew what they were doing. Where obviously if you look at it in the whole and you're like, it's the process, like, you've got to give people the chance to at least apply, learn, and know what they want to, like, that's a big role, and someone could have took that, people could have took that on, that could have been a big break for them. And I think
especially, I guess, they want a big change as well. So that, someone to really just make some new energy. But
I think for me, I was gonna say, for me, it's having people in, like, obviously system code, like it's having people around and then not even considering them. For me, that is probably the issue. Where it's like,
that should at least be considered.
But yeah, that's.
So other than that, this week, because we're losing time. Kyle Lowry, potential trade rumors heating up. He apparently wants to go to Philadelphia, which is his hometown, his home city. That'd be great for Philly, I think.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Championship point guard there. I don't know who they're trading for him.
That's a problem. Like,
he's got a large contract too, I think.
Also,
I don't know
how it would work.
I don't know how much left his contract is. Can't be that long.
I can have a look. But yeah, that's one of them that in theory I'm like, that'd be great. And I think I feel like he could be the missing piece that takes them to a title. But but realistically, what are they going to give to get Carl? Like, what Toronto going to accept?
Yeah, because they're to them, they're still in contention.
So
they're not rebuilding. They'll want pieces.
Okay, let me have a look. So, Kyle Lowry, what's that? So, yeah, I think that, for Philly, the trade would have to make sense.
For Toronto, it'd have to make sense.
So, Kyle Lowry becomes an unrestricted free agent this summer.
Oh, there's no point in trading him then.
He becomes
if I'm Philly, there's no point in trading so much for him.
If I'm Philly, I would still trade for him, but the value of the trade would be because he's unrestricted. That's I'd be like, do I really want?
Trade value is low.
So
if you are Toronto, and you think he's going to leave in this, you may as well get something.
So what he's doing here is he's making his intentions clear. He's not re-signing with Toronto. He wants to go to Philly anyway. It's kind of like what AD did, but it's not in that same level. It's going to be the point of, he's leaving in a year. He's leaving this year. So if you're Philly, don't go too high for him. If you're Toronto, you take what you can get for him because anything's better than nothing. and he's basically letting it clear that. And if I'm Philly, I'm probably looking at this season, knowing that it's a bit of a weird season, it's a bit scuffed, and I'm looking and saying,
well, you never know. They might try and trade him for something low, just for some.
Yeah, no, I try and trade him for something. Yeah, I try and get the bargain deal trade I can get, and both teams might try and be able to work that out. But if I'm Philly, I'm like, does he help us? Does he help us this year? Like, can he push us to potentially that title?
I think
he's that. He could be a missing piece, and I think if I'm Philly, I'm trying something. I know he wants to come here. I know he's going to be happy to come here, so that doesn't make an issue. So I know I can give them anything and be like, do you want to shake Milton or something? Do you want to this guy? You know, how about some...
Shake Milton wouldn't be a bad.
Like, do you wanna...
I mean, I wouldn't if I was Philly. I wouldn't.
But it's like I'd be just throwing things around. Like, do you want him? Take Danny Green back, please.
Take Danny Green. You know what? They might. They just might.
Just trade Danny Green around like that last piece of chicken. Just like, I don't want it. You know. But yeah, I think
good, but it's not great.
I think it'll be something to watch. I think Kyle Lowry's been pretty smart with the timing of when he has made when these reports have come out, and this is very.
It's near the end of the trade deadline as well.
Mm-hmm. So that's like if you want me now, like. Make that deal. And the thing is, why he's saying Philly, he's basically made sure that no team that isn't Philly is ever going to trade for him because of the contract situation. Like no team who's not Philly is going to put anything in for Kyle Lowry. Nobody's going in about 5 months, so it's pretty smart. And I think I really want to see. I want to see Kyle Lowry at Philly, as long as Philly don't give up too much, because I feel like that. Oh, that team.
I mean,
I'll be honest. Part of me really wants to see. So as much as I love the Lakers, I love LeBron. Part of me really wants to see Clippers versus Philly in the finals. I want Doc to just. I want that to be because I just feel like when you look at like the narratives and shit, it's like
Kawhi versus
it's like
Kyle Lowry. It's
just like there's Toronto links, there's old coach links. It's Ty Lue versus Doc. It's like you look at that, and then put the Paul George comments about like there's like little wrinkles. I think when you look at storylines, things that like the narratives, you can have you can have Lakers Miami 2 with all of Miami healthy. You can have the Clippers, like there's loads of little like.
You'd like it to end up that way.
I mean, mashallah. Sunday, please. But yeah, like there's like loads of. I think like when I'm looking at it, I'm like Lakers Miami 2 would be great, especially if Miami Miami knocked off the Brooklyn big three. Beat Milwaukee again, and then like beat Philly in the and then beat Lakers in the fight. Oh my God!
Might just happen. It might just happen. Right.
If anyone's crazy enough to do it, it's Miami.
It is. Right. Let's go over team of the weeks, player of the weeks. Any idea, Damien, for you?
Oh Jesus Christ!
I know mine. I know my guys.
You go.
My team of the week's Miami, of course. 5-game winning streak. Beat the Utah Jazz. Best team in the league. Yeah. It's Miami.
No, that's fair.
Without a doubt. And my player of the week is Ben Simmons, who's been playing really well this week. He's been a lot more aggressive. He's scored a lot more points. I mean, Philly are 5-5 right now, but since this week, they've been really well. They lost their last game though, but. They're pretty good. Also, wow, everyone's road record is really shit.
I feel like part of going away from home is having all those fans just cuss you out, so you can channel that like dickhead in you that just like, oh, hold this, another like buckets on like a shush. Whereas right now it's kind of like, I feel like everyone's in like coast mode.
Everyone on the West, a lot of them are like winning a lot of games on the road.
Lakers have won more away than they have at home.
Spurs as well.
I'm convinced Lakers are just like, yo, what is home court advantage? We will beat you at your turn.
Clippers have a better road record.
Yeah, I think with the Lakers are like, yeah, what is home court advantage? We'll just beat you at yours. You can beat us at ours, and we'll just. Who cares? We'll just go. But in terms of team of the week, probably the Clippers. Played well, and I think like this version of the Clippers, they look so good. Like all the things they were meant to be last year, It's starting to look like this year.
Yeah, well, it's not the playoffs yet. We're still going to wait for playoff P. You know,
and that's why they're the team of this week, not the season. Because I forgot about playoff P. Sorry, all the things that are meant to be in the regular season this year, last year they are this year in terms of the playoffs. But yeah, player of the week. I'm putting in Julius Randle. I think.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I think the way Knicks have been playing have been great. I think him getting the All-Star was great as well for him. I think when the season started, we were looking at like the table and like teams are doing well. I wanted the Knicks to do well, but I had no belief they would because the past. I also didn't believe Philly would hold on to being good. But I've been watching them. They look like a really good team. Like people in New York are now starting to believe they've actually got a good basketball team. I think after KD and Kyrie didn't pick Brooklyn, New York fans, the Knicks fans were kind of resigned to the fact that they'd be dog shit for the next 8 to 10 years. Like they were like, unless we get a number one draft pick, it's over for us. We didn't get Zion, we didn't get KD, we didn't get Kyrie. But what they've actually done is built a really decent team who together.
And they're getting I feel like a lot of teams are learning from Miami, whereas culture is becoming a big thing now. Like with Phoenix, like with New York, with Chicago, where they're developing there as well. Culture is becoming the biggest thing that people want because it's worked for Miami as last season.
But yeah, I think Julius Randle himself is like, I looked earlier, like I know he scored. What is that? So like last week, because he was giving me mine last week when he scored the 44 points. But then this week, he's just been averaging a nice, 25, 20. Like, he's been 20, 25-ish.
He's been solid.
Yeah, I think he's been just a driving force. And then when you add that with the All-Star, I think he deserves recognition. So I'm glad. I'm actually so glad he got that. But yeah, it's...
Miami didn't get an All-Star.
I know, yeah, I saw that. I was like...
I'm not going to lie, I don't blame him.
With Butler being injured and then...
Butler was injured. Bam was gone for a little... Both of them was gone for a bit. I don't blame him.
It's not a snub, but
I think Jimmy Butler could get in there if someone else had an injury.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm saying it right now. Butler deserves to be in there more than Vucevic.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Maybe not Bam. I don't think Bam's been averaging that much. But Jimmy Butler's been getting triple doubles like no man's business and scoring points. And ever since he's been back and in the fold.
Plus, as a Miami fan, do you really care if they're in the All-Star this year? Like,
no.
You might get an extra day's rest and shit. You're good.
Yes, exactly. You know what? That's going to play out so well.
Yeah, like, you want to run and then you're on the run of the All-Star.
I actually didn't think about that. Now thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, this is sick.
You're on a run and then you get a little break where you guys get... I think with Miami is, a break for Miami is going to be clutch for them where everyone gets to... Because you know that with players like Jim Butler, you guys are coming together and just... in your head working out what to do
so
next.
Late in the season, like with the LA Lakers, they're the teams that spent so long. But the LA Lakers, they're forced to rest AD because of an injury, and LeBron, who's also already complained that it was supposed to be rest for me. Like I only had like 70 something days. Like, come on,
give me something.
Miami are like, yep. We get a few more days.
Exactly, yeah. And those few days can be critical, especially considering both of them teams have the least rest from the finals. Like, any rest you might can get is critical. So it's not a bad thing. It's one of them, but like, it's a nice thing to be recognized. But if you can get away with getting more rest, I'm sure some players will.
I'm sure you get recognized for winning a championship.
I'm sure some players were looking at their All-Star thing like, I'm not in. A couple days sleep. There we go. Training.
Thank God for that. You imagine someone like Devin Booker just.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Dodge that bullet.
Woo, I'm not in. And then just gets a text.
God, fuck.
He's like, yes, I'm out. Ha. He scrolls through all the Twitter like he's been snubbed. He's like, ha.
That makes a question, yeah. You're the commissioner. It's your pick. Like, you can literally pick anyone you wanted to be in the All-Star game when a player gets injured. You should have just went, yo, Doc Rivers. Do you remember when you?
No,
it has to be a player.
Call all the Philly players.
It has to be a player.
Doc, remember you annoyed me. All your Philly players are in the starting. Like, what? They're all playing all the minutes.
Just say, other than Alex Caruso, who's a fucking meme in this league right now?
I think that's it. Like,
Jesus Christ. I remember when Brian Scalabrine was in it.
White Mom.
Big
Yeah, no.
Baby. Petunia.
Big Baby. But now, I don't really think there is that much, I think.
Perkins, you know. If they were still in the league, I'd pick them.
You know what's funny? In this
Taco. He should have picked Taco.
Okay, yeah, Taco what? I think in this year it's weird because some of the players that are memes are just good players. Like
Caruso's decent, yeah.
Like Caruso's decent. People laugh at Lonzo, but he's actually just like actually. I think LeBron gets memed more than I've seen anyone else, and it's confusing for me. I'm like, do you know who he is? Like, but yeah, it's. I mean, Devin Booker made the most sense. I would have called up like I don't know anyone. I'd have been like, "Yo, Melo, jump on, I don't know, just compete here, just do something."
Guy, someone pick calling Adam Silver like, please don't pick me. Just please don't pick me.
Imagine him calling you like, "Okay, you made the also." No, I haven't. No, you made it. Come off my line. I'm not playing in that fucking game.
Yeah, play it. Do what they do about the NBA logo. It's Jerry West. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
You're an all-star.
No, I'm not. I haven't. Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be the perfect way. Avoid it at all costs.
Avoid. Right. That's been this week's episode of the Timeout podcast, guys. So, I think we're going to have to take a timeout.
See ya.
The goddamn glucose, the goddamn...
Thank you.